Brian Palavira and Farr here with Steve Way in Qatar before the 2014 IAU World 100k Championships. How are you, Steve?
Very good, very good. Yeah, travelled in yesterday, so just getting used to the sights and sounds of Doha. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, have you ever competed in a World Championship before?
I guess because you can't call the 50k
a World Trophy
because it's a World Trophy final. So I guess no. So yeah, 2012 I did the World 50k. But no, national championships, yes. World championships, no. So exciting times.
Big step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Because even in the competitiveness, the 100k is generally much more competitive than.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something I'm really pleased to see is just how big and how deep the field is. Because you don't want to come to 100k and for it to be a joke, really. So and it most definitely isn't here. And we've got 130 male competitors, I think, from 39 countries, and quite a few under 6 hours 30, yeah. Quite a lot under 7 hours.
And then some people who've never run 100k but have sub 215 marathon PRs.
There's some serious talent in the field, which is quite exciting because the 100ks that I've only done 200ks up until now.
You ran by yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, in both of them. So I haven't actually raced 100k yet. So I've only time trialed them really. So this is exciting.
And it's very different because as people have been talking about, the course is very tight. It's really warm and humid.
Yep.
You can't go for time here.
Oh no,
it's not a personal best.
No,
course.
There was a when the selection came out on the British Athletics website. There was a Steve Way leading the male team will be going for a world record. Apparently, it's like, yeah, if you want to, you can. Have you seen where we're going? No, so I've got no aspirations of PBing here at all. That's just. Not even on the radar really. It's all about the racing, which is exciting because I don't, as with my marathon running as well, I don't get that. My marathon, apart from the Commonwealth Games, where I was able to race for position there at times, almost all the marathons I do are time trials as well because it's just me against the clock.
Because there's so many people.
Exactly, but like at the London Marathon, I can't hope to be fighting for a position. So I'm just looking for a time. So. Mm-hmm. A large majority of my target races are time trials, so to have one that's not and is a proper full-on race is really good.
And you've got to have one of the fastest personal bests in the field, I think, for 100K.
Yeah, so
not the fast.
No, second against
Russian?
the Russian. Yeah, the young Russian who's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
So he did his 6 hours 18 in 2013, I think it was. And has subsequently done 11th place at Comrades, and that's all about is pretty much all we know about him. I think he's only he's about half my age.
So,
but yeah, and then so apart from that, I think I've got the second fastest PB, which is from the UK.
So it's got to be a nice confidence boost, but again, it's all about racing here. So how do you temper? You in the past you've done these time trial type races.
Yeah.
How do you switch that mindset to be like, I don't need to be
worrying
front
about
or
I mean, so for me it's going to be a combination of two things, I think. So even though I'm not time trialing, I know that to a certain degree the best way for me to get to the end quickest is to run a sensible race on my own.
Yeah.
So there's no point, I'm racing, but there's no point me going off at sub 6 minute miling.
Because somebody's going to.
Because somebody will possibly, yeah. So, and I know that's not the way to get a good finish time out of me. So it's going to be not worry about the clock, but I'm going to sort of have to weigh up what's going on around me combined with my effort levels. Mm-hmm. So I need to be sort of, especially in these conditions, it's all about effort levels and rather than time. So I've got to try and weigh up whether I think I'm in the right effort level zone. And where that puts me in the field, and is there a sensible sort of group that that I should?
It's interesting. Unlike, it's not like a tactical race like an 800 meters or something. If you run the fastest time you can, you're going to put yourself in the best position.
Exactly.
Except right now it's kind of windy, so it'll be one of those. Do you take?
Yeah.
Do you run 5 seconds a mile faster to
be
in a group?
Yeah. It's definitely this. What we're feeling at the moment would definitely influence my decisions about whether I'm running to my own effort levels on my own or whether I'm running in a group, because I think this would seriously lead to sensible group running, I think.
And last night it was dead calm, so
yes, you very kindly pointed out that it was actually worse felt worse running it sort of midnight than it does
did.
right, especially at the moment with the sun's actually gone in. If we can just. Could we get everybody out here and just
chop.
Get 130 people? Come on, let's get it on now and see what happens.
So you might be getting sick of this, but you're
So you don't even have to ask the question. I know where that's going.
So
I used to be fat
and smoking.
and smoking. Yeah, no. Yeah, as you've implied, it's a common question, but it's something that's made me quite well known back home in England, because I had this backstory of 7 years ago, 33 years old. I was about. I don't do
no stones.
No stones.
Kilos work.
No, I'm too. Well, to put it into proportion, so I'm 10.5 stone.
Okay.
And I was almost 17 stone. So probably about another 50% of my body weight at the moment. So if somebody wants to work that out in kilograms, they're welcome to. So yeah, I led a sedentary lifestyle, no real exercise up until the age of 33. I'm now 40, 7 years later.
And why? What changed your life?
Oddly enough, it wasn't really. Even though I was getting a bit disappointed with the weight, it was the smoking actually that. So I'd got away with being quite a heavy smoker for the whole of my life and not really seeing the effects of it from a health perspective. And it wasn't until my early 30s that I started to really see the impact of the smoking, which was like waking up in the middle of the night coughing and not being able to sleep properly, and really starting to realise that obviously I was screwing up the lungs. So I needed something that I could focus my attention on to take away from the smoking. And the thing with running was that it killed two birds with one stone, because obviously everybody knows great calorie burner. It would occupy my time while I was thinking about not smoking, and it did the double whammy of getting me fit as well. And it just turned from initially just a form of exercise, and then it's now turned into my life sort of thing. So
when did you start thinking about competing?
So on the build-up, so I set myself a target of, it was September 2007 that I decided to start running, training sensibly, and targeted the 2008 London Marathon, which was just over 6 months away. And it sort of, as I progressed towards that, I realised that I was going to exceed all my expectations on that front. And I think probably the first time I got a real buzz from a race that sort of made me think, hang on a minute, this is sort of turning into a competitive sport rather than just a means to an end sort of thing. But I think one of the build-up races to the full marathon was a half marathon I did, and I think I had my little own target of about 80 minutes, and I did 72, and like out of a field of it was a big city, the Bath half marathon in the UK, which is a big city marathon. It had sort of, I don't know,
and
12,000 people, and I came 30th or something, and it's like, oh my goodness me.
And how many months into your running was this?
That was probably about 5 months.
So 5 months after being a well overweight smoker,
I
you run a 72
half,
Okay. So there may be some innate talent that you
definitely
kind of uncovered.
Underneath the fat suit, there was an endurance runner desperate to get out, basically. So, and then went on to do the full marathon in 2:35, which I probably wasn't even at my maximum effort levels that day, because I was sort of going into the unknown, and having originally set myself a target of sub 3 hours, I was really scared to go for something like 2:35.
Wow.
But I probably had something more like a 2:30 in me that day, I think, because looking back at sort of my heart rate stats and things, now I know what I'm capable of in terms of effort levels in a marathon. I think I was enjoying myself too much that day, and I probably had a bit more in me. So, and then it's just been, from there I joined a local club in the UK, and it's just sort of taken over, really. And I had this sort of period. It was interesting. I had after some initial gains in the first couple of years, where I progressed to sub 220. I just with 2:19 marathons. I then sort of stuck for about 3 years I kept on doing 2:19 marathons and couldn't progress any further, and I thought that I might have reached my potential with that. And then 2014 has been a real sort of breakthrough year for me, where I've just suddenly gone from 2:19 to 2:16 and then 2:15.
And was your 2:15 when you were already a master runner, or?
So the 2:15, was my first Masters marathon, which was 2 weeks after my birthday and was the British Masters record.
I was going to say, that's quite an impressive Masters.
Yeah, so which had lasted since 1979 by quite a famous runner in the UK who makes running gear called Ron Hill. So it was Ron's record from 1979, which his was 2:15.40, and I did 2:15.16. But if you're gonna break that record, then 2 weeks after your 40th birthday, probably the biggest event you're ever going to be in your life, in the Commonwealth Games, which is pretty big for us in the UK, was the place to do it, really. So.
Nice. And I assume your training since then has gone well.
It has, although I then perhaps not that sensibly went straight out of the Commonwealth Games to tackle Jonas Bud in Sweden in an ultravasser 90k, whereas I probably should have been chilling and having a bit of downtime, because I'd had quite a big year up until then with London Marathon, UK 100k champs and the Commonwealths. But I'd already sort of agreed to do ultravasser before I got selected for the Commonwealths, and I really wanted to do the race, and I sort of held on to my fitness for as long as I could. Did that, where Jonas very, very confidently beat me by a significant margin, so he was most definitely the better man on the day. And I then had a couple of weeks off, which was necessary, and before I got back into my training for this. And I have to admit that the training has been a lot harder for I think my body's telling me that 2014's been significant, because whereas all my other training build-ups have gone absolutely perfectly, this one's had a few bumps in the road, as it were. But I've got myself here, and I'm in good enough shape that I'm certainly looking forward to the race. But it's not quite where I wanted to be.
And you've conservatively set some race targets for yourself in the past. What's your target on Friday night?
Well, before I saw the entry list and the iRunFar review, my target was to win.
Yes.
Subsequently, I've thought actually it would be still very significant just to podium, based on that start list. So I mean, to podium would be fantastic. I think that would. I mean, we're looking at the quality of the field. You can't be disrespectful to everybody there, and I think and so obviously there's the team event as well, and we've only got the 4 guys in the GB team, but we've got some strong runners there, and we've got significantly one of my teammates, Paul Martelletti. He's only got a 100k PB of I think about 6:55, but he specifically ran that to qualify to make sure he got under the time, and he's never actually raced 100k, and he's a very similar runner to me. He's got the same marathon, roughly the same marathon PB as me, and I've got high hopes that he's of a significant high caliber that he's going to make a real difference in the team event for us, I think. So even though we've only got 4, it's 3 to score, and the other guys, Craig and Paul, are both in good shape as well. So quite looking
small,
forward.
but
small, But we might. I know in the review we weren't really sort of considered from a team perspective. So I'm hoping we might be able to surprise a few people on the team side of things. So
well, best of luck to you and your team out there.
Thank you. Excellent. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.